What's up, guys? Chris here, and I'm doing more coaches interviews for people in the GBA. This is another returning coach. Joining me is Joe, aka Joseph, aka SWAGILYPH, coach of the Pittsburgh STEELIX,
AKA the Steelies.
the Steelies, which is the best team. I'm
Yeah.
really considering I really considered doing like a very subtle Steelies gradient throughout the video, and then by the end
Yeah.
it would just be like the massive picture of the Steelies.
Do you
But
still have that picture?
oh yes,
Because I do not.
that picture is forever. It's gonna be used throughout the
Okay.
season for some
That's
stuff.
that's good. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
it's a great picture. If anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, Joe made
He'll
a
probably be in this video at some point.
nah.
No?
I think I'm too
We'll
lazy.
save it. We'll save it.
It might be like an
All right.
Easter egg.
All right.
I might make the video like 8 hours long, and there's like 1 second of it somewhere in the video. And you have to scroll up to and
Right. Right.
find it. Maybe, who knows? Depends on how bored I get. But all right, so Joe is coach of the STEELIX. They made it to the playoffs last year. Lost, heartbreaking loss to the double stealth rocks misclick followed by a max damage roll.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the 1-2 punch of oh fuck
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. It was definitely a combination of the two of them, but
Yeah.
what can you do?
I mean, that's why you just rage, not redraft Reggie Rock. Just
Yeah.
fuck him.
I liked Reggie Rock when I used it, and I honestly considered drafting Rhyperior, but I was just like, I have Heatran this year, which is something we'll talk about, but I now have Heatran, so I guess something like Talonflame isn't really as big. In fact, it's not a problem at all.
Nah.
You know?
Nah, and going right into it, that's the thing. You have a lot of different stuff now. I think you have what, two members of your original team?
I have
Your
Slowking and
Shaman. Yeah.
Slowking and Shaman are the only two of my original team, yeah.
That's it. Joe has traded the overwhelming majority of his team and then not renewed any agents in the new draft. It's
Yeah,
entirely
last season we traded Cofagrigus for Umbreon,
new. And
and in the off season
Roserade for tank growth.
Roserade for that ended up getting dropped because that was a 1 year deal.
Yeah.
So, and then in the off season, I made a whole bunch of trades. I don't know if you want me to talk about that or if you want to initiate the.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did a trade video on it.
Yeah, there was
so,
a video about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can
And
discuss, how you feel about that because that was big moves. Getting
yeah,
Heatran
so
even for a year.
yeah,
Huge.
basically, I had offered to Gubstacular, owner of the Deoxys, Heatran for Porygon 2. He was a little bit on the fence about it, and he originally said no, and then he came back to me and said if we can swap genies, which is Tornadius T for Landorus Incarnate, I
yeah.
believe. Yeah, Landorus I. And I said yes, and he said he was still thinking about it, and then he said you absolutely have a deal if we can swap Heracross and Toxicroak. And to me, they honestly do the same thing. I prefer Heracross more, even though Toxicroak is arguably the more versatile mon, but it just fits my team, and I already have a huge flying weakness, so it's not like I was losing anything. I felt like I was gaining power from it. And then at some point after that, what team does Danza have? The Nidokings, right?
Yep.
Nidokings asked me if I wanted to trade Haxorus for Flygon, which I was not. I don't want to say happy to get rid of, but to get a Haxorus, which I mean, Haxorus is offense. That's what my team desperately needed, and
Yeah.
this season I
Its
feel like
job
I have
is to punch holes in the moon.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
it does.
yeah, and I mean this season I have a lot more offense. I'm not sure if that's necessarily going to help me, but my team's not fat blobs of recover this
No,
season.
it's a pretty balanced out team actually between like super scary punch you in the face and your face explodes kind of things like Mega Beedrill and Haxorus and
Yeah. Yeah.
like bulky things that can still turn a hit like Blastoise and Heatran, like
Right.
which
Shaman
yeah,
as well.
Shaman. Yeah. A lot of really good utility things. So yeah, I mean, why did you feel like you had to, or why did you switch so much of your team up? Because you didn't do poorly at all last season.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
It wasn't that. It's just like I mean, I would say that the GBA definitely caters itself to bulk. I mean, Nick and Gubs are examples of that, and to a degree, Danza. I mean, Danza had bulk season 1 and 2,
Yeah.
although whatever. But it was just like I felt like I should trade mons that were a little bit versatile with a lot of bulk for mons that could actually punch holes, because I do still have a decent core, and with the draft coming up and me being able to get 3 mons, I could fill that in to a degree. Well, obviously I wouldn't be able to get the best mons. I would be able to, fill holes with whatever cores that I needed, and I felt like I got some good mons with my draft, so...
Straight out of UU, man.
Yeah, so the first one that I got was Blastoise, and a lot of people question that pick, especially being my first pick. So I have Blastoise for 3 years now, and the reason that I picked it over Starmie, which was available, was because I didn't want the added weaknesses. I wanted a bulky water type, I wanted a rapid spinner, not a defogger, and while it has slightly less offensive capabilities than Starmie and it's a lot slower, it's not weak to knockoff, it's not weak to U-turn, it's just a pure water type, which is something that I wanted, so I don't really feel bad about picking it, and I hope to shit on people with a fat turtle.
Yeah, man. Just gonna run like mirror coat at
Yeah.
you.
I want everyone to be afraid of Mirror Coat every week, but I'm only gonna run it once, and when I do,
It's like
they're gonna get shit.
I dare you to Volt Turn on my team.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
dare
yeah,
you.
yeah. I already know who I'm gonna run it against as well. I have a lot of my team planned for a lot of people already, and
Really?
then for our second pick we got Jirachi, and that one I'm particularly happy with because Jirachi is so versatile in so many ways. It's a great Spadefmon. It's great mixed. It's a fantastic Scarfer because Ironhead, does what Ironhead does,
Yep.
and it covers a flying weakness on my team, which I know doesn't, which really doesn't mean much because if it's a flying type, it's probably coupled with fire or fighting, but we'll figure it out.
Well, you also got rid of a lot of your flying weakness. I mean, last season that was your big weakness. Was I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
like 4 or 5 of your things.
Flying and ice would just
Yeah.
destroy my team.
Yeah, you got rid of a lot of that weakness throughout things, throughout trades, and just releasing a lot of it into free agency or whatever. But I love Jirachi. It's the thing. I probably spent the first like 4 weeks of last season continually telling Nick that it wasn't a regret pick and he should use the hell out of it, and he
And
never
then he
did.
ended up trading it, didn't he?
He traded it in the first week he traded it. Danza got 3 kills and a win.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great mon. We're like, it doesn't matter what you do with it, it's gonna put in work. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. You just have to be willing to actually use it, But I
Yeah.
guess he got a little bit scared. And then the last one was kind of that one kind of snuck up on you. Like nothing got sniped for you. You didn't really have your eye on anything that you lost, right? But
No, not at all. And the thing is that I specifically I decided on Jirachi when I realized it was available. Blastoise was something that I wanted before we even started drafting. But the thing is I didn't have my eyes set on anything too good or prominent just because I knew it would get sniped. Like I had considered Alakazam and Metagross and Starmie and Breloom, but I knew they were going to get taken, so I just didn't consider it, and I went with things that Florges being one of those things that I had considered. But right before I was about to pick Florges, I thought about taking Rhyperior and I thought about taking Dragalge because neither of them are bad for my team, but I decided Florges was the overall better option as far as what it can do, and also this gen it got Synthesis. So it's a decent alternative to Wish, and
Yeah.
given that GBA games don't tip like I
Wish
found
Pass is hard in GBA.
well Wish Pass is hard, and also I found for mons like let's say Umbreon, who I ran Moonlight on a couple times last season, it's not as unreliable as you would think because of the lack of PP,
Yeah.
but it still works.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you don't run in Smogon because there's you only get 8 of them, but in something like this it just seems to go a lot farther.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. I liked your picks, I mean, I was sitting in a call with Gubs while things were going on, and you picked Blastoise, and we were kind of like, huh? But you came in and explained it, and we were like, okay, neither of us thought it was a bad pick. It was just like a out of left field pick. And but it works, and when you really look at it, it's one of those things where when you look at it, you go, oh, this has a lot going for it. Especially like you said, rapid spin over defog. I've been a huge proponent of that for a long time, and most people just tend to go defog because it's so much more readily available.
Right.
But like, especially in this league, there are what 3 teams that can spin block you now at the most.
There's not, and the thing is it learns Dark Pulse. So if you want to bring in a Ghost type and I'm offensive, you're gonna have a problem. You know.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is now that the league is so much bigger and the conferences are spread out, I don't even think you have to play some of the teams that have Ghosts. Like...
No, I don't. I mean, we have what? Miss Magius, Gengar, and what else?
Chandelure and Jellicent and Trevenant, but
yeah, well, he's never gonna bring Trevenant.
He's never gonna, and I don't think you'll probably play him. Nick has Aegislash. That's probably a finals playoff only kind of worrying thing.
Yeah, I'll scald it.
I think Adam's newly acquired Chandelure is your best thing, but who's gonna bring in the Chandelure on the Blastoise?
Right.
So
yeah. And for our Mega, we picked up Mega Beedrill, which I'm happy with because it's another hole puncher. And I looked at it afterwards. I picked it, and Beedrill and Heracross, while they are both bug types, they kind of cover each other.
Yeah.
Beedrill followed by Heracross. What Beedrill struggles to hit are, bulky rock types and bulky steel types, and Heracross just clicks close combat and they die. So.
Yeah,
it works out for me that way.
I was a little bit surprised you went with that, but also not because I know you've been using it recently, and it's putting in work.
Before we started the draft, I had my mind set on Beedrill, and then when we started the draft and I picked my 3 Mons, I was like, well, this was before we knew the
order.
The Mega Draft. I was like, I don't know what I want. I guess I'll figure it out when I get there, and I'd considered a few things over it. Let me scroll down and look at this. I considered Pidgeot, although I realized that's just probably not what I want. I highly considered STEELIX because it patches up a couple weaknesses in my team, and it's a mascot pick. Yeah. And how can you get over that?
Mascot picks historically, though, have done terribly.
I know, but I'm so much better than all the people who did that. So
this may or may not be true as the impartial guy.
I really wanted Mega Diancie, and I decided against it, even though it's a very good Mon. And I just went with Beedrill because it's so much power.
Yeah.
And
let's be honest, you were a little bit nice to the expansion teams who got a little bit screwed in the Mega Draft, which was random, but they were all lower. And they were already at a little bit of a disadvantage.
I could have taken Diancie, which Roger got, and I'm sure he needs and wanted. I could have taken... Gallade. There's so many things that I could have taken, and while Beedrill is good, it's a really good Mon, I just feel like there are better Mons for other people's teams, and by me picking Beedrill, they do get to, use those. Yeah. So
I think Beedrill's kind of a handhold Mega, but I think to an extent Heracross was as well, Mega Heracross, and I think you showed that you can do that. Like, you can make a team that different, week to week, you can support it in different unpredictable ways and make it work.
I mean, the thing about Heracross is that no matter what you did with it, it was incredibly powerful and bulky. So, like, I had a little bit more room to work with like what I wanted to do with it. Like, for say, when I played Nexus, I brought a full physically defensive one for Bisharp, and it ended up being great, and it worked out really well. And he still had no switch-ins to it.
Yeah.
Where Beedrill, slightly less versatile, only does one thing. It has a good move pool, and a lot of people forget that. Like, there's a couple moves that I know of that it learns that I'm sure a lot of people don't or have either forgotten, and I'm going to be pumped to use those moves and fuck some people up. I just want to point out, Beedrill lives a Draco Meteor from a Scarf Hydreigon. A lot of people don't know that.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Better know that.
I mean, it has
run fully defensive Roost.
Right. I'm pretty sure X's are still 2-hit KOs.
Speaking of that, we've got conferences and stuff like that. Steve's released the Master Doc. You've got Cooper, the Jasmine, Nexus, the Scavalier, and Adam, newcomer Ducklets in your conference. How you feeling about that?
So I had been petitioning since the beginning to get Adam in my conference, just because I wanted to play him. Adam's one of my favorite players, especially in the D League. I enjoy him as a person, and I really wanted to get a chance to play. Exactly. I want to do to him what Kote is going to be doing to most of the people he plays this season, and so Nick was the one who eventually ended up writing, or ultimately, that's the word I'm looking for. He was the one that ultimately ended up writing the
Divisions out. Yeah.
divisions, and he put me in there, and he also put me with Nexus, and I couldn't say I was happy to be with Nexus, and it's not because it's for no particular reason other than I would have liked to been with much better players, and that's not to say that he's bad. It's just to say that there are a few people in the GBA who are significantly better, and I would prefer to play them because I enjoy the challenge. But then he also put me with Cooper, and Cooper has a very solid team this season. He's a very good player, and while I don't enjoy playing Cooper, I know I'm going to have to work for my wins against him, which I can appreciate. It's not just going to be punching babies. Like, I'm actually going to have to work for my wins, which I like. So
yeah, that's good. I mean, last season I remember people dreaded playing Cooper because the bulk is real. That's what his team is and what his team does. So,
yeah, I was less worried about the bulk, more about the way he plays, which is slowly. I think Chris just cut out. I can no longer hear Chris.
Oh yeah, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm twisting my mic around like an amateur.
Yeah. It sounded like you were falling away from the mic and then you just went silent.
I did. I live on the edge of a gorge, and sometimes you slip.
Okay.
And
Yeah. I mean,
you reenact early Simpsons, like season 2, Springfield Gorge.
Yeah. Do you remember the episode where they went to the therapist and he had them all beating each other with giant foam pads?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No one references that.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
Good.
All right, so who do you want to play the most? Adam? Is that it? Is Adam on the top of your?
I'm excited to play Adam. I'm really excited to play Roger. I know when I play Miguel, I'm gonna have to work for it because Miguel, basically the guys from the D League, I'm pretty pumped to play them, and I need to destroy Steve this season too. Him and John, I need to absolutely destroy him and John to regain what I no longer have.
For different reasons, because Steve is the premier smack talker, and you like to hang in there with the smack talk, and then you lost to him.
Yeah,
and
that's
John,
true.
you just lost, I think, 0-3. I don't think you beat him.
Yeah, I never beat him, although arguably the last one was a little bit unfair for me, but also my fault, so what can you do?
So, okay, going into that, what are you going to do differently this season besides not double-clicking stealth rocks and not getting a max damage roll against you?
I mean, I'm going to play in the same way that I did. Well, I'll go ahead and stroke my own cock for a second. My team wasn't the best last season, but I'm really good at planning for teams, which is the only reason I did as okay as I did. So I'm going to continue to do that, which is spend a lot of time planning and researching and calcing and just do exactly what I do. But this time I feel like my team is a little bit more versatile. While it is less bulky, and I did say I don't know if that helps me, but I have more to work with and a lot more power. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. We're just going to do that.
That's fair. I mean, it's hard to, tell a semifinal playoffs guy like, oh yeah, you should change shit up. It's like, well, no,
especially being an expansion team in my first season. Well, that
absolutely,
yeah, I mean, an expansion team in his first season won the league last year.
Yeah, but he's also the guy with Deoxys S and Aegis Slash running around, so it's kind of like,
Ubers.
Yeah, those Ubers, legendaries and Ubers, and just it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's the only reason he won. Everybody knows it.
Yep.
So
it's a fact. It's written. It's written on the caves somewhere in Lebanon. Yeah, we'll say.
I mean, Lebanon. I think that's where Roger wrote it, right?
Yeah. Well, his ancestors, the Habibs. Habib is like the Arabic term of endearment for like a male best friend, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, instead of saying bro, you would kind of say Habib. So the fact that his last name is Habib always makes me smile.
Well, that's a good thing, because Roger is kind of everybody. It's like bro, best friend. Little brother, baby, child, man.
Yeah.
But all right, I think that's good. That's like double as long as I expected these to go. So now everybody is either less entertaining than Joe, or they're gonna have to fucking vamp forever to compete. Because
I mean, I talk a lot, and people want to hear what I have to say. Yeah,
no, I let you talk. Like, at no point did I want to rush it.
Right. Right.
I was thinking, I was like, I could just do this for an hour with Joe, and like, I'd still be entertained. But
Right, but then half of Gubbs' interview is just going to be shut up, Gubbs.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I have to be fair to the other people. Unfortunately, we have to
Yeah,
interview on a curve.
yeah.
So, but thanks for showing up, man. I like your draft. I like your team. I like you. We should also mention you're not really doing the YouTube thing anymore, but you are going to try and do videos. We're not going to hold you at gunpoint to do them every week, but you
Yeah,
are going to try and do them, and you're going to put them up on the channel,
I am. That
on
is,
this channel. Yeah.
yeah, that is the plan. I figure the people who were really into my channel were the ones who were really into the GBA. So chances are you're watching this. Maybe you follow me on Twitter, you're subscribed to the channel. I obviously don't upload anymore, but I will be uploading my post-narrated battles to the GBA channel. So you have that to look forward to, your weekly dose of pure amazement and beauty.
Yes, every Sunday you can get your dubstep 6-0 sweep remixes. Who are you going to sweep this season?
I mean,
That's the final question.
well, see, the thing is this season I have another powerful bug type, and the problem with Heracross is that I had to get speed to it. Well, Beedrill does not need that, so if I
No.
just Swords Dance, I'm hoping to just sweep everybody. So hopefully Kote to keep up the theme of 6-0 sweeping Kote, but I'll try for Steve. I can probably sweep Nexus. We'll try for Nexus.
That's all right. I mean, you can just set up rocks in his no spinners, no
Yeah,
defoggers.
yeah. That's. Oh, I already know what I'm gonna do for him because he has no spinners, and I'm. Yeah.
Ah, poor guy. Poor guy. Poor everybody that goes up against Joe, though. Joe's not playing around.
Nah, I don't fuck around.
Joe takes this children's game to the serious limits.
That's so true. Yeah.
But thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for listening to the whole video. Go check out Joe's now retired channel and bask in the glory of yonder days and what once was, and
Amazement and
more.
beauty.
Yeah, more in its passing. There's a video of him eating pizza. You can just
There are several videos of me eating many foods.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to get to know Joe, that's the way to do it.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna do the little outro because I thought of something off the top of my head.
Oh.
We'll see you guys around. We hope you enjoyed, and also Evil Hand.